Welcome to my art channel. Thanks for stopping by to make some art with me. For more free art lessons, you could press the button below and subscribe right there on that red button. And I will see you really soon. Now let's get to making some art. Bye-bye. Hi guys, welcome. Today we are going to be doing some Cubist art like Picasso, and we're going to be making some pictures of guitars. So you're going to need a scissor, a black and a white crayon or Cray-Pas if you have it. You will need two pieces of paper that are 5.5 by 8.5. So if you were to take a regular sheet of paper and fold it in half, that would be 5.5 by 8.5. You'll also need a few different color scraps for our picture, some brown paper. If you don't have brown paper, that's okay, you can always color it in. And one piece of paper that you want to use for your background. And a glue stick. And I think we're ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our guitar. So we're doing a Cubist style guitar, and Cubism was discovered or invented by Pablo Picasso, who's a very famous artist. And what Cubism is it's taking a regular form and breaking it into shapes. So we're going to start by taking our 5.5 by 8.5 two sheets, and we're going to fold them in half. And I'm going to show you how to draw the guitar. So a guitar actually has two bumps in it. One smaller than the other. So we're going to make one bump like that, and we're going to draw it coming from the fold. This is the open end and this is the fold. We're going to draw just a bump like that, and then we're going to draw a little smaller bump. And I'm just going to outline this so you can see it. Like so. So you have your smaller bump and your larger bump, just a little bit of a difference, like two little mountains, and they're on the folded part, not the open part. Once you have those, you're going to cut your paper. Save that scrap for later. You're going to open it up, and you'll see the crease down the middle. I want you to cut down that crease. And now you are going to have 4 halves of guitars, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to mix and match. We're going to use 2 separate colors for each guitar. And the first thing that we're going to do on all 4 sides of these guitars, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the outsides where the bumps are, is we're going to take our black crayon, or if you only have black marker or Cray-Pas, that's fine. And we're going to just outline the guitar. I'm going to do that on all 4 bumpy sides. And I'm not coloring in the guitar, I'm just doing an outline like so. Okay. Okay, now on the inside, right next to that black line, you're going to take your white crayons or crayon and you're going to make another line. And this just really highlights your guitar for your artwork very nicely. So simply like that. It's going to make it really stand out in a very Picasso-esque way. So Picasso was a Spanish artist and he was considered the father of Cubism. And here we go. So I have done all 4 sides of each guitar with white. Now I'm going to go back to pick 2 that are the same color and put them together. And then I'm going to draw the circle for the guitar so it matches. I'm going to draw it on both of them together, like so. And I'm going to color that in. And then I'm going to take the white and I'm going to go around that circle. Like so. Okay, I'm going to put these away. And now I'm going to match these up with 2 different colors. And now one thing that the guitar has is a wooden neck. So this is the body of a guitar, so we need a wooden neck. So you're going to need some brown paper and you're going to cut it into a rectangle, nice long rectangle. And I think that could be a little bit thinner. I'm just measuring it out. And then I'm going to cut it with my scissor. Okay. So the neck of the guitar goes down about halfway into, or a little bit more than halfway into that top bump. But I'm only going to glue it on one side. So you can decide which color side you want to glue that guitar neck on. Whoops, I just lost my glue. So I'm just going to measure it, but then I'm going to take it out. I'm only gluing it on half of it. This is actually a little bit long, so I'm going to trim it. So I have one guitar over here, and I'm going to do the same thing. So on this guitar, I put it on the dark blue. I put the neck on the dark blue, so maybe I'll do it on the light blue. I'm just going to trim it slightly. And a little bit more than halfway down, I'm going to put it on. Try and fix my glue. Okay. So now I have two guitars, and I'm going to let the glue dry, and I'm going to take a piece of paper that I'm going to use for my background, and we're going to make a sort of an abstract background using scrap paper. So you're going to take squares, rectangles, and triangles, and just cut a bunch of different shapes out of your scrap paper. And I'm just using shapes that have straight angles. I'm not using circles. And I'm going to use a couple of different color papers because I have lots of scraps here. And I'm just making some triangles and squares, really. And they're all different sizes, and just a couple different colors. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make a design using all my little pieces of paper that I have. And I'm just going to make what's called an abstract design. I'm just going to have fun with the different shapes and see where it takes me. First I have to fix this. Okay, so let's see. I have lots of different colors. And when I put my shape down, I'm just going to make sure to smooth it out so that I know the glue is sticking. Make sure you get the edges of the papers, because those are the ones that tend to pop up. And if you get a little glue on top, on top of your paper, that's fine. It'll dry clear. So I'm just having fun fitting in different shapes of different colors on my paper. And I just keep filling my paper and putting my shapes in different directions. I'm thinking about what shapes fit nicely next to each other. I have room to squeeze in some shapes. Just going to use a piece of scrap paper to press everything down. Good catch. Okay. And I'm trying to mix up my paper so not all the same colors are going in the same area, because I want my eye to flow around the paper, move around the paper. And this is just our background, and then we'll put the guitars on top of it. So it looks like I have a couple empty spots where I'm going to just make a few more cuts and maybe some narrower squares or rectangles. Just to fill in those spots. That's why I like to keep my scrap papers, because I can always find uses for them. Okay, I'm just going to take my scrap paper again and just go over it, making sure everything's nice and flat. This also helps push the glue and spread it out. Now I notice my paper is a little wet from the glue and things are warping a little bit, but that should be okay. When I dry it, I'll dry it underneath a book or something. That will help. So I have this background, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over it with my black crayon and outline the shapes. And this will help make all these shapes and designs pop out, like so, and give the background a really interesting look. And I'm going to continue to outline all of my shapes. I have a noisy table. You hear that noise? Everything shakes when I'm coloring here. Okay, and I'm just about done outlining all my shapes. And once I've done that in the black, I am ready to outline it with my white. So I'm going to take my white crayon or my white crayon, which is just down to this much, and I'm going to outline what I've already outlined right next to it. Just like so. And I have a few empty spaces where the purple's popping out. And with this, I'm ready to work with my guitars. So I do have two guitars. I don't know if I'm going to use both of them or the entire guitar on both pieces of the guitar. But I am going to lay the guitars on my paper and see what looks nice. I'm just going to move around. I want it to be very Cubist looking and abstract. So actually I kind of like that this piece is going off the paper. I could cut it to fit in the paper, or I could leave it like that, and I think I'm going to leave it like that because I think it's really interesting. And I'm just going to move my guitars around a little bit and try and decide how I want them to look, and I think that looks pretty neat. I really like that. I'm going to glue it down with my glue stick. Now, one thing when you're working with the glue stick, you don't want to spend too much time coloring in your piece with glue, because the glue stick, by the time you go to glue it down, the glue will be dry. You have to work kind of quickly with the glue stick. Whoops, and this glue stick is sticking all over my fingers. I'm just going to glue that, and when I glue it, I'm not gluing them together exactly like you would see a guitar. Oops. I'm gluing it a little bit separately, because in Cubism, that's how it works. It's taking what you would think would be a guitar and breaking it down to its basic shape or form, and then kind of playing with it. So that's what I'm doing here. Instead of keeping it like this, like a regular guitar, I'm going to move these pieces around a little bit. So they're just shifted and a little bit off. I'm going to glue this piece on. And when you are working with the glue stick, it's always best to make sure, most importantly, is that you get the edges, is more important than filling in the middle, because you don't want your edges to pop up. So I'm going to glue that down like that. So there's my one guitar. And I'm going to take my scrap paper and just rub down that glue. Make sure everything's sticking nicely. And then I'm going to work on this guitar, which I really like the way it was going off the paper. So I'm going to do something like that. I'm going to do this piece first. I'm going to glue the edges, make sure I just draw with the glue around the edges, and I can quickly go right inside, and that's plenty of glue. I'm going to bring this piece down. And now I'm going to glue this guy. Now I'm not going to glue all the way up to the top because part of this guitar is going to be off the paper. I'm going to just rub this down. Make sure everything is sticky. And I'm going to trim, whoops, this is really long. I like the way that looks. I'm going to trim this part of the guitar here, but I'm going to keep it long on the other side. And here I have my Picasso inspired guitars. I hope you enjoyed making these and learning a little bit about Cubism and Picasso, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.